Thank you for the warm intro, and thanks for everybody for joining. Carasoft and SolarWinds, much appreciated. Giving Loop One the opportunity to provide a webinar for our clients, and I am, as Helen said, the Director of Customer Success here at Loop One. My background is I actually came to Loop One from Merrill Lynch, and prior to that, I was a baseball player. So I've done all sorts of crazy things, and now happy to be here today. My experience at Loop One has been vast. I've done a lot of things. I've been on the sales side. I've been on our managed services group, directing our engineers and helping renew contracts for clients that need ongoing help with their SolarWinds platform. And now, again, I am the Director of Customer Success, which means basically I'm helping roadmap client environments, helping think about what's next in terms of SolarWinds and how we can help optimize and improve the platform going forward. So that's who I am. Sean, do you want to say hello to the fine folks?
Hello. I'm just kidding. I'm Sean Sebring. I'm a solutions architect with SolarWinds. So you can think of a solution architect as your traditional solution engineer plus a little more. I try to fill up as much of my time as I can doing things like this with Jordan and Helen today. So webinars, podcasts, blog articles. So trying to take space in the thought leadership position. And my background is coming from IT support, starting with video game support into managing service desks, implementing ITIL practices, and even the product that we'll be discussing a bit today, the SolarWinds Service Desk for organizations as a customer before joining SolarWinds team as a solution engineer, now solution architect. But so happy to be here, happy to do this again. Since some of the SolarWinds branding colors have changed, I also need a new headshot, but not as desperately as Jordan's. His is a little older than mine, I think. So.
Oof. Yeah, time has been rough, but yeah, you're looking sharp. Thank you, Sean. And thanks for joining today. So quickly, a bit about Loop One. Won't go into too much detail here because I know we want to get to the good stuff with Sean, but Loop One has been around for since 2008, so carry the numbers. Yeah, almost 15 years. We've worked with about half of the Fortune 500, and that's pretty good. SolarWinds is in 499 of the 500 clients, and we've worked with a little over half. So we've got deep experience in all sizes of environments, including the largest there. We are a unique a company that we offer public training that includes live virtual labs. There is no other company currently that's doing that. So that's really where we got our start, where we cut our teeth in SolarWinds. Our owner, Bill Fitzpatrick, does still teach those classes and maintain the content. And that is where we got our start, was just training folks on how to use a tool that everybody seems to like, and at least at Loop One, and one that we're all passionate about. We are now over 100 employees. We've got 5 offices across the globe, including in Cirencester, where Helen is, and in the UK, and then in Germany, Sri Lanka, Ireland, and of course here in Austin, Texas, where it's about 100 degrees outside. So I've got my fan on in the background. Over that course of the Loop One's existence, we've delivered over 5,000 professional services engagements. So that's where we come on site. We're hands-on keyboard, helping deploy and train clients in their own environments. We've got over 38 SolarWinds certified professional engineers. So we're a company built by geeks that still has a lot of geeks on staff. And in addition to those 38 that are delivering the engagements, we've got 5 or 6 SolarWinds certified professional engineers that are on the pre-sales side. So you call us, you get to talk to somebody that's, comes from a SolarWinds background, is a user, is a thwack, has a thwack handle, and they can speak your language. So, we've deep roots with SolarWinds. The logos on the right, I like to mention those only to say that those are complementary products. So we've been doing this a long time. We found some, based on customer need, some additional products that are complementary to SolarWinds. So have no fear. 99% of our day-to-day is still within this product and this tool set. So We are a SolarWinds shop and will continue to be so. I think that's it on this slide. Yeah, bottom line, we've got a lot of experience with SolarWinds. Our engineers do it day in, day out, 40 hours a week. We're not a pushy team. We just like to help people get things up and running, get the most out of their tools, increase adoption, increase ROI, all those buzzwords. But I mean the truth is the results speak for themselves. When you get in touch with our engineering group, the results are overwhelmingly positive, and that's our reputation is what's built this company and how we've lasted so long. So we're happy to be here today. We're happy to be talking about SolarWinds Service Desk. It's one of the more exciting acquisitions that we've come across because it is a need that needed to be filled, and we're excited to see the growth. And with that, I will turn it over to Sean finally, and let him tell you all the good stuff that's coming.
Awesome. Per
Wait,
the
no,
next
it's
slide, I
Sean.
was gonna
Sorry.
say, did you want to
This
do
is,
this?
yeah. Man, I jumped the gun. Gosh, Helen's gonna be mad at me later. So yeah, some options here. So we've got deployment services from SolarWinds. So that is an offering from SolarWinds that Loop One, as a third-party integrator, does help fulfill those services. So there's 4 packages. You've got a light and then a level 1, level 2, level 3, and those are based primarily on the number of hours that are included and then the number of features that are within SolarWinds Service Desk that you need implemented for your company's needs, your best practices. There's a ton of features jam-packed into this product, so not everybody needs every bit of it, and you can choose the package that's right for you, and chances are Loop One engineer will be helping you get off the ground and get running. If you need a bit more in terms of we want a hands-on approach, you need somebody on site for attention keeping purposes. I like to play Minesweeper in the background when I've got a couple screens up. So if you want that, then Loop One is your answer there. We can come out there, meet you at your site and run some training, run some integration, implementation for you at your office. So a lot of ways to get off the ground. I think what you'll find is that this is a product that is one that you can get going very quickly, and that's one of the benefits. There's a few products out there that you can't say the same thing about, and Loop One can speak from experience. We have SolarWinds Service Desk. We use it. We implement it, and as compared to another tool, it night and day. So much faster, so much easier. A guy like me coming from a sales background can get in there and use it. So we really enjoy it. We like the fact that it integrates with SolarWinds, and we're just excited to see the product keep developing. So now maybe we can edit this out later, Sean. That's a little snafu, but turn it over to the smart guy in the room, and hopefully one that knows his slides a little bit better than I do.
Not a problem. Yeah, so just real quick to kind of talk about the acquisition from SolarWinds getting the service desk. It's been over 4 years now, so it's part of the SolarWinds portfolio and getting great immersion into that portfolio, integrating with some of the other SolarWinds Rockstar products like the Orion platform, NPM, HCO, SWO, put a couple acronyms out there, get some folks who might know what those acronyms mean excited. But Orion, right, the big platform. So, a very strategic acquisition. SolarWinds trying to pick up a product that is very easy to use out of the box and integrates well with those infrastructure tools that SolarWinds has been so widely known for having, again, rockstar products in. So the SolarWinds Service Desk is an ITSM tool, right? It's a service desk tool. You can think of your incidents, your service requests, your asset management, but taking it beyond being part of the larger SolarWinds portfolio, we've got so much more. So let's move over to our next slide here. I think we do look at just some kind of high-level stuff. Throw a statistic on there, right? This is as much marketing as I can get. but it is cloud-based, so this is a solution that we host. Nothing you'll have to do. When Jordan mentioned earlier rapid deployment, he means rapid, right? You can be set up and running in a day, depending on the level of complexity that you've got, because you just need to go to a website, sign up, and then bam, you've got an account, right? Don't have to install anything. You just decide what are your categories, your subcategories, who do you want to assign the tickets to, and then someone can start putting in tickets right then and there. So very simple, easy to use. You'll see a little bit of that in what we look at today. We do have a pretty focused topic, but when we say simple and easy to use, it's all codeless. And I was talking about my role previously. Jordan was a baseball player, right? Anybody can use this, and it's not to say that it's too simple. It's that it's intuitive, right? It's a tool that you don't have to code, you don't have to get certified in to be able to, code something or script something. It's all click, drag, and drop. So it's intended to be an incredibly powerful product. It's very user friendly for you as administrators, not just for the end users that are trying to submit tickets. But modern technology, hosted in the cloud. It's very fast, browser friendly mobile app. We're going to be talking about integrations with other platforms like Teams today as well. And this is part of that ROI, right? Saving you time and money, getting that fast deployment, less need for long deployment rollouts, heavy lift on making a change to the way you're leveraging the product. All this stuff is going to be fast ROI. And as I just mentioned, integrations, right? So one of the reasons it was strategic isn't just because SolarWinds says we want to sell one of these products too. It's because when you think about the framework of what does an organization do from an IT standpoint, you got different layers, stacks, and silos that we're trying not to make so siloed. And at the foundation of everything is the fact that we have services. We have a service desk, right? So one of the ways I like to look at that is when we're selling network performance monitor to somebody, typically we're talking to a network guy, right? It's fairly standard, it's fairly straightforward. I know who I'm going to be talking to. When you're talking about a service desk, you could be talking to anybody. It could be the VP, it could be the service desk manager, it could be a technician, it could be human resources, it could be facilities, right? Because what we're intending to do is help any service provider manage their services through a service desk tool. And we're seeing that more and more, by the way, right, beyond IT use cases, because I think that IT did it best implementing service practices, right, managing services. And so now getting on board, these other groups are realizing, hey, we're service providers too. Let's start leveraging these tools that the experts are using, the IT folks, right? The IT folks who have been managing and delivering services. Let's start using their stuff too. So you're seeing that more and more, and it's becoming more of an enterprise-wide solution. So again, it's something that the entire organization touches, but we're also trying to make that a part of the SolarWinds portfolio where, all right, well, our networking folks are able to have their tools talk with this as well. So that's also going to go back up to the bullet ahead, save time and money. Having those kind of smart integrations, those automated integrations, that's definitely cost savings right there.
Yeah, and great point, Sean. We're coming across more and more clients where they're measured specifically on the time and quantity of time to resolution for a ticket and the quantity of tickets that remain open for their customers, the end users at various companies. And a tool like this that allows for collaboration and integration, it's been invaluable to them. So yeah, we've done about 30 deployments now through that deployment services program, and that's some early feedback. It's just that it really helps companies that are looking to measure that sort of interaction. So yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, insights. Everyone loves data. We need to measure
Yeah,
that. We got a couple
exactly.
of questions that came in, I think can be answered as we get to this, talking about employee engagement. I see a couple of questions that came in about accepting tickets and ticket ingestion. So about email API, yes, yes. About integrating with PagerDuty through third parties and tools such as Zapier, yes, again. That's technically using API if you want to think about it that way. But we want to give a vast method of engagement opportunities, right? From the employee side, a service portal, the mobile phone, which is less common from a requester experience, but definitely from a technician experience, right? Being on the go, I need that mobile application. And chat, which is something we're going to be focusing on today, email, API, right? So we want to make sure that no one doesn't that someone just avoids getting service because it feels too cumbersome to get there, right? So the employee engagement, I think, is necessary to stay at the top of this because we're ultimately here to deliver services to the organizations that we support. And if we're not making it easy for the employees to engage with us, to request that help, we're failing from the get-go. So enhancing that experience, making it easier for them, and using avenues, channels that are already well adopted and in place, like chat and email. That's, of course, why these questions came up, I think. We're trying to meet folks where they are. And so to kind of shift away from PagerDuty or text needs, mobile applications also a great supplement for that, because then you're not just accepting it through a simple text message, but you've actually got buttons that are native to the application where you can comment, manage statuses, change categories, leverage the knowledge base as a technician. So trying to go even more further to meet you where it's literally in your hand, right? Your mobile device.
Yeah, we were talking with one of our engineers yesterday, Lexi, who's done some of these deployments, and that mobile application came up as a very valuable use case for, I think it was a police department that she just recently worked with. So yeah, absolutely. Great point, Sean.
Yeah, and that's another good example of just beyond IT, right? A police department being in, and then maybe they were submitting to IT, but just being able to leverage something on the go, right? We want the platform to be easy to use and accessible. And again, that's out of the box, right? You don't have to do anything magic to configure that mobile application. It just reflects your web-based platform that you're managing.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'll just add this, if you're kind of deep into PagerDuty, Loop One has done PagerDuty integrations. It has an out-of-the-box SolarWinds hook. I'm sure we could look at that and connect it to SolarWinds Service Desk. If you're married to that product and that you still find value out of it, absolutely. So let's take a look. If you want to go down that road, Loop One's happy to do that with you.
awesome and good to know. I didn't know that. That's cool. Um, so these are ways to position the platform and talk about some of its strengths, and we'll see a little bit more detail on these, but just highlighting things in case you hadn't been part of SolarWinds Service Desk or seen it in the past. Do think of it as a full ITSM platform. So your common ITIL practices: incident management, service requests, problems, change, assets, CMDB. A lot of AI is added in here as well, so it's helping with predictive problem identification, suggesting articles to not just the end users browsing for self-help, but for technicians to try and identify a solution. So you'll see, modern AI, machine learning popping up throughout as you would work through the platform. And more common services. So we mentioned API. It's kind of called out in the bottom right in that bright yellow down there, but tasks, reporting, dashboards, workflows. And again, unless you're trying to do a custom script, custom coding to extract or insert data, the entire platform is designed to be click, drag, and drop out of the box. So it doesn't have to be something that's overly cumbersome for you to manage in your environment. I think our next couple slides just go in a little more detail about the stuff we were just talking about. So there's those smart suggestions I had mentioned earlier, right? And you can see a little screenshot of it, since I don't think I'll be doing any demonstration of it specifically. But as you type as an end user, what do you expect, right? We're all kind of trained over several decades to look for that search bar right in the middle of the screen, and I want it to start autofilling for me, right? So that's the simulation that we see there. Is I type and it says I have suggestions for you. And that's just a common modern way of addressing things. It's still probably the most widely leveraged form of self-service. Is let me start entering a demand and you better have an answer for me. And something that's kind of taking that to a next level, it's not quite as adopted yet in my personal opinion, but it's the direction things are heading, especially since we brought up PagerDuty and texting, is chat, right? So chat bots and things of that nature, which we'll get more into later. But the idea is self-service, right? We really want to get them there. And again, not just requesters, but technicians too. I think is one of my favorite parts to highlight about that. But you were good, Jordan. Let's go on to the next one there. So workflows and automations. So again, something that folks will consider should be standard as part of these platforms, but making it easy to use in design, right? Click, drag, and drop. I'll say it again. It's a buzzword, but it's accurate, right? You click a plus, you add in what you want, and you drag it and drop it where you want. But copy and paste these workflow nodes. Building the logic is just buttons, selections, right? So you don't have to do any kind of if this then that coding. It just lets you select your if then options right there in the screen. And visual, this is one of the biggest reasons to move towards solutions like this if you don't have processes and workflows in place, is the visual component. Right? We need to be able to see where things are in their life cycle as we deliver our services, and being able to bake in automations, whether it's an automatic approval distribution or a hook into another platform. So taking things up to a more modern next level. We're getting a little long-winded here, and by that I mean me. So we need to keep moving so we can get to the meat of what we're talking about here. But asset management, again, I think this is a perfect slide. That graphic on the right is one of my favorite because it shows how everything is being funneled in to the service desk there, right? What I had mentioned kind of at the top of the introduction to the SolarWinds Service Desk being acquired by SolarWinds is we need to feed all that into the platform that everyone touches, your service desk.
Absolutely.
Right. And I believe with that, our next is the demonstration. So I am going to get my screen pulled up here, and we're going to do a brief demonstration, just looking at some of the chat, right? Because one of the things that we were focusing on right here is engagement, chat ops, chat bots, virtual agents. And so what I'll be previewing for you here is the virtual agent in the platform. And by the way, this is something that's available today. It's not a coming soon. If you're already a service desk customer and you don't have this or don't know how to leverage it, reach out and let us know. But this is something that's available to you today. So you'll see 4 major options here, and there's more I can talk about in the near future that's very exciting, and I will do a brief bit about it if I can towards the end. But again, very common tasks, things you'd normally leverage here just on the portal browsing around. But for that more modern experience, folks want to be able to do things like just talk to the bot and ask it to show me your open tickets, right? Give me a list of the active tickets that I have. And I'm a, fake account, lots of fake tickets. So it's pulling up, potentially hundreds in here. So bear with. But we've got, show me my open tickets. I can just act on this ticket. So if I wanted to make a comment on this SAP access request, I can just click on it and say add a comment and type in there, right? New comment. This same activity, and I'm going to bounce between these two briefly here. Everything I'm doing here in this is also something that you can do in Microsoft Teams. So same options in here, right? Same 4 buttons. And this is showing you that you can integrate this into a chat tool that you're already leveraging. And again, meeting the end users where they are. So not trying to say, hey, you need to familiarize yourself with this new tool. Not that we don't want to try and encourage it, right? You get a little bit more self-service, a little more ticket deflection maybe possible on the portal. But ultimately, we need to make sure that we're still giving them the options so that they're not feeling like they just want to avoid engaging us for services. So a couple of things I like to look at in here. The Your Open Tickets option, from an end user's perspective, here's my ticket history. You have the options to create a new ticket or go to more details here. And hey, look at that. There's the comment we literally just wrote from the portal showing up in my Teams integration here. So you can comment back and forth. It does keep it threaded. You'll see the most recent comment at the top, or actually rather at the bottom in chat here, whereas normally in a portal, you'd see the most recent at the top, right? Because it's trying to keep that concept of a threaded conversation. I need to see where am I typing? What was the thing that was said right before that? So all the options that we see in the portal here, we'll also see, and I got to get WebEx out of my way here. We'll also see in the I don't remember which one I said, but the virtual agent here and in Teams will have the same capabilities there. So one of the other things I like to show is just, we talk about ticket deflection. That's one of the reasons that this is very, very valuable. I'm just going to use a standard example I use in demonstrations. So I'm going to select a couple categories here, or category and subcategory. And what I'm trying to show is even if they wanted to just go straight to creating a ticket, the way that the virtual agents are going to respond is in your benefit as the IT guys, right? You come in here, you say, "Hey, I got a dial pad issue," and the system says, "Before, can you please review this knowledge base article?" So again, just trying to put some suggestions, some self-service in front of the end users. If they so choose, they can still proceed to creating their incident, right? Submitting their request. But our goal is to give them another option, meet them where they are in tools like Teams. And by the way, it's both Teams and Slack that the virtual agent will integrate with for you to be able to submit tickets, update tickets. Um, I also want to note, because it is worth noting over here, if you are an end user, you've got a ticket that you've put in, just like chats, you'll see notifications. So very nice. Get in front of the end users, right? If commonly you have that problem of I send them a message and it's been 3 days, they haven't gotten back to me, maybe they're a little bit more responsive in Teams. So being able to stay in front of more rapid service, more rapid engagement, and chatting with the bot. I like to sign out at 5 p.m. Guess who doesn't? My virtual agent's going to keep working around the clock.
Yeah, that feature was about 5 minutes for me to set up. So again, ease of use, got my teams going, got it up and running, no sweat. One of the things I really like about the AI and the machine learning piece too is building that knowledge base, right? It's going to give you suggestions. It's really easy to build that knowledge base,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Again, yeah. So reducing the time that your team are spending on things like responding to folks, right? So that's, you can't talk enough about the time to value of this product, I guess. So.
And some cool features to come real quick, just to, because I do have enough time for this, I hope. And we're going to pass it back to Helen here in a second, is more things you'll be able to do in the virtual agent, programming use cases. So I like to bring up a scenario. If I am an end user and I go to the virtual agent and I say, "I'm having issues with my VPN," it says, "It sounds like you're having issues with your VPN. Have you tried this?" They say yes. It says, "Okay, well, have you tried this?" They say no, and it gives them the step. So what Jordan was just talking about, knowledge management, think of it as evolving and making interactive that knowledge management process.
And when you think about combining that with, automagically integrating with Orion alerts on top of that, you're talking about serious time savings. So, Helen, I think where we're at, we've got a poll. Is that ready to be sent out?
We have indeed. I'm just opening it now. So there you go. It should be live, she says, with fingers crossed in the background. Not that you can see that.
We need a drum roll sound effect, I think. Are the demo
Absolutely.
going to work? Is the poll going to work? Is Jordan going to read the right slide? So cool. We'll keep this open for another couple seconds.
Yeah. Are you seeing the results, Jordan, or not?
Yeah, looks like,
You are.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Looks like most people have not yet started using the chat ops in their day-to-day. So that's kind of a thing. Is that what you would expect, Sean? Is that what you're experiencing when talking to
and
clients?
that's why when we kick things off, I mentioned that search bar is still the most adopted that I've seen, because, like I said, decades we've been programmed. Find the search bar, right? Find the search bar, enter your demand, and you'll see some pop-ups. It'll autofill. But chat ops and being able to engage in chat isn't just with virtual agents. It is becoming more popular. But I think one of the more important aspects of it is meeting them where they are, right? So trying to make more convenient. They don't even have to go to a portal now. They can just do it from Teams. Oh, that's incredible, right? That's where we're starting to see the ramp up for it. Also, it's not as widely developed in a lot of other products. So I feel like we're doing great in being in a position to jump into chat ops and virtual agents pretty early on in that game.
Yeah, great. And thank you everybody for responding. So we'll move on quickly here. You already mentioned the collaboration tools. Just talking a little bit more about that here. Again, Slack and Teams on this slide. Anything else to add on this one, Sean?
No, I just want to get you guys excited, right? We're name dropping here. So Microsoft Teams and Slack. If you're interested, if you didn't know it worked that way, engage SolarWinds or Loop One. Happy to help. Happy to work with you on getting things like this set up.
And for all those folks that have not used ChatOps before, here's a slide for you. Maybe hand this to your manager when this is done with and say, here's why we need ChatOps. And again, you will get these slides after the fact. So Sean, you want anything to speak to or highlight here?
The only other thing I want to re-highlight is it sounded like a quip earlier, is the virtual agent doesn't sleep. So when you're talking about value, right, that virtual agent can potentially deflect things after hours, during hours, and being able to see how much work it has saved you from. I think that tells its own story. But just kind of planting that seed, like you mentioned, to leadership is worthwhile.
Yeah. And again, even more fodder for making the case and as to why we need it. You got some actual figures here, Sean, that you've added to this slide.
Yep. Great stuff here. Yeah, it's just about justification and kind of like shock and awe moments of, man, wow, look how much this could do for us if we invested in it. And a lot of the investment I'm talking about isn't financial. A lot of the investment is just trying to engage, trying to encourage adoption, even just making it an option. Sometimes is all the effort that's really necessary, and then it'll start to become more adopted all on its own.
Yeah, that's a big buzzword here at Loop One is adoption of the tool. If it doesn't get adopted, it becomes shelfware or vaporware in the case of a SaaS platform, and that's not doing anybody any good.
Right.
I think we've got another poll here, Helen. Are you ready with this one?
I'm ready.
All right, fantastic. This is an easy one. We've got some guesses here. We'll see if our suspicions were correct as we were preparing for this yesterday. And it looks like, as we suspected, Sean, Teams is the overwhelming winner.
Teams is definitely, especially when we are talking about the local government space, right? Microsoft is very, very embedded in that area. So it's a great opportunity to just encourage and leverage. Hey, we already use Teams. Why not just take advantage of these other integrations and technologies? And, to mention a few others, it's not just, I know today's conversation is chat for the most part, but we've talked about integrating with other SolarWinds tools as well. Other things to consider are some of your other asset management tools. Intune, right? Staying in the Microsoft space, SCCM, Azure for your virtual machines, Jamf, AWS. We did mention Orion. So there's so many other integration capabilities that you can think of that you can try and take advantage of. And while it wasn't the topic today, I think it's something to note for our SolarWinds folks that we're most known as infrastructure monitoring and management here. So a lot of folks will be very, very into the assets side of things, right? Knowing what assets do, what do we have. So I think it's totally worth mentioning that as well. And one thing I love is how much we've done with Microsoft. So again, Intune, Azure, Teams, Power BI, which I hadn't mentioned yet from a reporting perspective, right? Integrating with your primary reporting tool. So integrations, I think that we talk about SolarWinds strategic decision bringing on the service desk was, yes, definitely to integrate within their portfolio, but also because the platform happens to be so easily integrated with other tools as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got it connected to our Power BI as well. So it's, man, ease of use again. I'm banging the same drum over and over again, but any questions? I know we've got a couple in the Q&A panel. There's certainly love the opportunity to answer any more. I didn't have it open yet. Did we
Okay, so we
any
just
more
had,
come in, Helen?
yeah, we just had another one come in. Does this handle problem management and change?
Yes, fantastic questions. So problem management and change are both part of the SolarWinds Service Desk. For those not as familiar, just in case, Jordan is the root of all problems. Just kidding. But problem management is I had mentioned early on when we were looking at the automations slide that predicting, all right, trying to be more proactive with problem management. That's something that the service desk does natively out of the box. So as a incident comes in, if the system has identified, hey, there's 3, 4, 10, 15 other open active incidents about this same thing, it's going to recommend and suggest and show those to the technicians while they're working it. So again, from a proactive standpoint, that's trend analysis right there. And so you've got the opportunity to create a problem record. Again, a completely separate record type from an incident, from a service request, from a change. With out-of-the-box fields for managing that, looking at root cause, workaround, symptoms, right? So dedicated feature sets for problem management, as well as some automations to help kind of push you in that more proactive problem management direction. And from a change management perspective, again, let's say I'm looking at a change and we went live with this change that we executed on our change window. The AI is going to be there to say, hey, we've seen a bunch of tickets coming in that might have been impacted by this change. So from a smart suggestions AI, right, it's playing part in there too. But all of these records, incident, problem, change, they can all be related to one another, tell a story. You can comment between them. So if I'm on a problem and I've got 15 tickets, incidents associated to that problem, we resolve the problem. I can resolve all my incidents as well as comment to all those incidents from the problem record. So easy to use, out of the box, right? We'll hammer those words in until someone believes it. But it's very, very simple and very intuitive. And a lot of that AI is doing so much of that work for you that it's going to make it so that it's hard not to start to improve. It's hard not to start adopting these common ITIL practices.
Yeah, it's cool when the recommendation engine pops up and says, hey, you got these 7 other open incidents. Would you like to associate to this? And then comment to all of them and store your comment in the knowledge base. You're doing it all just kind of right there, front and center, real easy. It's great.
And very important question from Simon is, when will the virtual agent be coming? That's live. The virtual agent is here today. So that is something that's available in the platform. There are tiers of licenses. So if you're on currently what's called the Essentials plan, which is the lower of the 3 tiers, it's not there. But if you're in Advanced or Premier, you have that today. If you have questions about how to enable it, again, reach out to Loop One SolarWinds. Happy to work with you and show you. We've got documentation we can share. If you're on Essentials and interested, definitely reach out and let us know. We would be happy to talk to you about all the other features you can get on one of the additional plans. So hopefully that helps answer that question, Simon, but did want to clarify that is available today. This isn't a coming soon teaser. This is just letting you know what is ChatOps. Did you know this was here? Here's how and why people leverage these chat tools and virtual agents.
You guys are on a breakneck pace for new feature release. I think something new every week. Is that accurate, Sean?
It's not inaccurate, but it may not always
like
be every week. Yeah. And Simon, you just need to enable it. And if you need help, let us know.
Yeah.
Joseph had followed up asking about problem management and change about asset management. And absolutely, there is a slide if you want to, you can click back just because I like the graphics so much. But it's one of those first slides, Jordan, where we went through all of the different sources funneling into. There it is. All of the different sources funneling into the discovery for the SolarWinds Service Desk. So you can see the orange, green, and gray. So agent, that's super simple. Pop an agent on your Windows, Mac, Linux machine, right? And then it collects the data, sends it up to the cloud. Very, very simple. It's also probably one of the most widely consumed, not just because it's simple, but because, hey, we're in a modern world. I can't control the network you're going to take that device to, so I need to be able to have it check in regardless of where you go. So I put an agent on that machine. You can go to grandma's or Starbucks, and as long as she's got a decent enough internet connection, or you can connect to the Starbucks Wi-Fi, that machine can check into the cloud, because remember, we're hosting it. Integrations. So obviously I want to call out the Orion integration, which is also HCO, Hybrid Cloud Observability. So if you're managing your network and you've got Network Performance Monitor, so NPM, NCM, SAM, right? Those are already collecting node information. We can tap into that database, the Orion database, HCO, and pull that in. So you don't have to rediscover. You're just pulling what you've already discovered, right? Getting that already powerful source of truth and pulling it into a different, more of a single pane of glass. That's what the service desk is hoping to be, so that while some of it's in Orion, some of it's in Intune, some of it's in Jamf for AWS, can we pull them all into the service desk so that we can see them in one spot? So more integrations, obviously, I mentioned there, but it's not just SolarWinds to SolarWinds. You've got other products, Intune, SCCM, Jamf, Azure, AWS. And then, of course, it can scan. So if you're not using some of those other SolarWinds products, or if you want to perform a different scan, right, a different, more controlled scan, less broad, more specific, the SolarWinds Service Desk also has its own standalone scanning capabilities. Scan a subnet, scan a router, right? What traffic's passing through that router? Give me those devices, pull them in, right? And so being able to pull all that information in, again, it's good to have the list, which having a list is a great foundational piece of your asset management. But then looping back in, Joseph, problem management and change management, which asset, which configuration item am I having the most problems with, or having a problem with, or submitting the most changes for updates, correction, fixes. So tying the assets into the other service management capabilities.
Looks like we've got another question, Sean, about having challenges using discovering assets on Service Desk. Do we have to install the agent on every device? That's what the documentation is saying.
Yeah, so it depends, right? We see there's 3 methods there: agent, integration, scanner. The agent-based approach, yes, if you're trying to do an agent-based approach, because that's an agent that lives on the device and says, here's everything about this device. The scanner would be your agentless, right? So a more agentless approach to discovery. So Seth, when you're asking about, do I have to install it on everything, depends on what you want. The agent gives you a little bit more of a robust data set when we're discovering, because it is an app and it lives on the device. The scanner can give you nearly as much, but not quite as much, right? Scanning over subnets or through the router. So, WMI, you can get quite a bit of details back. And that doesn't require that an agent be on the machine. It just requires that the machine be on the network you're scanning. So there's a few different ways. It depends. And we can definitely help you strategize that, both Loop 1 and or SolarWinds, depending on where you're at in your implementation.
Uptime tool for Service Desk, showing outages?
For showing outages, I like to think of, for showing outages, one of the biggest ones is on the homepage of the self-service portal, right? So announcement messages, and definitely. So the homepage on the service desk, if I am a submitter and I'm getting ready to go say, hey, I'm having a problem with this, right? An end user requester. If I have a big bright message, especially if you use graphics, which when I was a customer I did, right? I like graphics more than just big bright red text, which I'll use that too. But if you give me a warning sign like a traffic symbol, that's going to catch my eye, and then I'm going to read the big bold red text. But to the point of, show an outage time, absolutely, you can put up whatever kind of messages you want. There's also alerting, so it's different than just the homepage. The homepage you can do a little bit more with pretty graphics and stuff, but you can have an alert on there that will follow an end user anywhere they go. I have a few other solutions that I've worked out with customers where you can leverage groups just for notification purposes. So it depends on what the angle is, right? From a change perspective, we need to notify of an outage. There's different level of comms, but from a visual standpoint, I think the service desk makes it really easy. But the service desk itself is not about managing or displaying real-time uptimes. There are other products in the portfolio that can help you see what's up, what's down, how long, things of that nature, but that's not directly part of the service desk, no. Via integration, you might be able to set some of this to help give you a better dashboards for it, but just wanted to clarify the service desk itself isn't doing that. And loving the questions, got a very active audience here. I don't think I've ever had this active of an audience. Let's see. Seth had a couple in here. Can the scanner import asset info into the platform? Yes. So if you've been trying it and you'd said you'd had some confusion or trouble with it and you'd visited the documentation, definitely engage with your account management team so we can get a better look at that with you. chance I could be engaged in that call. That's a lot of what I do, is help existing customers in those scenarios too. But what I most often see, if we're at that stage, you're trying to leverage your scanner, and you're scanning a specific segment of the network, is credentials. If you're trying to scan a segment of the network and you haven't said, okay, on this connection, use this credential set, it's like a janitor going down a hallway. He says, there's 256 doors in this hall, but I don't have access to any of them, so I can't tell you what's in there, right? And a scanner will do that. It'll say pinged 256 IP addresses. 256 did not respond, right? And that's just saying you didn't give access, so it couldn't go into that device and say, tell me about you. And there is a section on the documentation I'd be happy to share. In fact, Helen might be able to grab your details after we wrap. And if you have further questions, I'd be happy to work with you on that.
Absolutely.
Get back to the slide here. So this is, speaking of assets discovery, and if there's more questions, certainly, you know, I'm going to
keep it coming. Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing to highlight here, Helen, the attendees of this webinar do have a special offer for you guys. The asset management packs are sold in tandem with the technician licensing. So anybody that purchases before September 30th would receive an asset management pack free of charge for attending this webinar. So Helen has recorded your information. We'll keep that on file. And if you need an additional asset management pack, now is the time to do it. So, you know, I think this just goes back to this slide, you know, implementing and how the ease of use and all of that, but also the fact that there are avenues for becoming a SolarWinds certified professional within ITSM now, offered by SolarWinds, and something that Loop One can certainly help train anybody on that's interested in doing that. For you, anything else on this slide, Sean?
Nope, I'm excited about the SCP for the service desk. It was definitely challenging. I helped co-create that because, again, I mentioned this earlier, with some of the other tools, right? Networking is the one I always go back to. Typically, the folks that engage with the tool are networking professionals, so they're already ready for that space, those questions, those challenges. But with Service Desk, you could be targeting any sort of audience. So trying to make a narrow but broad type of question sets so that you can talk about ITIL practices like problems and change, but also not be so specific to discourage facilities from wanting to better understand how to manage the service desk. So I'm very excited that we have it, though. So again, the service desk becoming more ingrained in the SolarWinds portfolio just makes me happy.
So a lot of ways to get going on this. If you're already a client and you need help, contact SolarWinds, contact Loop One. If you're thinking about becoming a client, you want to try it out, contact SolarWinds, contact Loop One. There are engineering-led, what you call it, engineering-led implementations. I can't remember the formal term you guys use for that, Sean.
Yeah, trial enablement.
Trial and enablement, yes, perfect. And then demos, obviously proofs of concepts. However you procure products, to borrow a phrase from Sean, we will help meet you where you are, and would look forward to the conversation. I hope everybody here has enjoyed the webinar, and my limited speaking role hopefully was not too offensive for your ears, and I'm sure Sean provided some value to the group today. So Sean, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Jordan,
for doing this with us.
Love working with you guys and looking forward to more of these in the future.
Definitely.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Sean. As always, fantastic presentation. Thank you to our audience for being so engaged. Some fantastic questions. I will be following up with a recording and a copy of the slides. And then one final quick ask when you exit today's webinar, if you could complete the feedback survey, that would be greatly appreciated.
Wonderful.
Thanks all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.